Alright, I got dual capture here. Do it this way. This just came in, PowMr. I have, it's a solar inverter and charger at the same time. It just came in today from Amazon. It took about, it's a week, about a week. Yeah, because I ordered it. Yeah, I ordered it. Well, anyway, it took about a week. Today's Sunday. I did it like last Friday. Yeah, it's about 7 days. But I finally got here. All right, let me pause this. I'm going to show you the inside of the system. I can't hook it up today because I need the battery. And the battery is the first thing that you hook up to this thing, and then everything else. Because it needs somewhere for the power to be stored. If any power is going inside the system, it needs to go to the battery. You'll fry the system if you don't hook up the battery first. All right. I took the bolts off this. This is the input-output of AC. This is for the solar panels. These for the batteries. And it has like 4 holes for the going in. No. I think that, yeah, one is to go to the batteries. And that's the, yep. So it's the batteries, solar, and in and out of AC. It has 2 fans. I believe this is for, I believe that's for when you hook up a generator so it could auto start if you have an auto start generator. And it has communication ports. And I did order the Wi-Fi stick, which should be connected to here, one of these ports. And it'll communicate Wi-Fi, and I can control it with my phone through an app. They got circuit breakers, buttons here. See, it says up to 230 volts. So I believe, I don't see 4 can just be hooked up. Interesting. I'm going to read up. I got a little pamphlet I'm going to read to see if it does. And I think that's the ground right here. I'm not sure, but this could be ground. That could be probably ground. Okay. On and off switch. You see, it says AC input, output. This is the COM for that you could hook up for communication. PV, but I got the little stick that's coming that's going here. I bought it through them because it has to fit in here with the cover, and it has to be, so it could fit in there, and it won't be aftermarket power. Will stick out, and then I can put the cover on the batteries, which has 4. All right. To mind the house, my whole living room has become a storage thing for this project. I got all kind of stuff here for all type of projects. When I'm done, I'll get my living room back. I don't have a shed in the back. It's a little thing where I'm gonna hook this up. It's a little trailer. Then I'm gonna hook up this to and hook up the solar panels that I'm gonna buy. But for now, it's gonna be charged by AC utility, and the battery is lithium. It's a server battery, so but it's light. I could take it to my car. I wish I have the charger. which let me put this away, which is this right here. I bought just 15 amps because I only need like 700 watts or something because I don't want to strange my alternator. And charge the battery there and bring it in the house. And there, while I'm working, I got a job 2 hours away, so I'm looking at 4 hours I could charge the battery. And then, I do a little bit of fool around with there's this thing that I started doing, DoorDash, which I do that just for fun or for extra cash and for my projects. So I don't tap into my, my savings and all that stuff that I have. But anyway, I drive for that for 2 or 3 hours. That's 7 hours. Boom, the battery's topped off to 100%. Bring it in here. I hook it up, and I hook up my might as well use the energy to unplug stuff out here at the house and run the refrigerator, run computers and stuff like that until the battery is almost, dead, which just so have an alarm where I'll keep it where it still be 10% still left on the battery so it won't be depleted. And then you just recharge it, keep messing around until I get my solar panels. But what I'm going to do is, since I got this, might as well save some money on electricity. And this will pay for itself wherever I spend. Which is was 600. What was this? I can't remember. Let's say with the tax and everything, 710. The battery cost me the most. That was like $893. That was the most. This little thing here cost me about 120 or 140, I think it was. And you have to have this, I got circuit breakers. But I got one just for the battery going in here, but I'm gonna need one for the electricity going in, and since I got to order another one, and for the solar panels, everything to protect. So I don't want too much power going into this and burn it. It has power, but coming in, you don't want to overload it because you're gonna see what's inside of it right now. I'm taking the cover off right here, but this is connected with wire, so I gotta look and make sure. So I gotta turn you off for a bit. Good news, this wire is long enough so when you take the cover, you won't break it off. You know how you buy a system that I bought and the wire is short, and as soon as you move this up, it's like you got disconnect this. I'm glad that we could you don't have to disconnect it and you could work on it. Great. See, power coming in. See, they got all this MOSFET. And see all these electronic circuits. Too much power going over what it's supposed to get will burn it, and that's coming in through here through the AC. But since AC is 120 volts, it doesn't produce a lot of heat, like 12 volts, so we could use the smaller wires. And I believe these are, the way I feel it, they feel like 10 gauge. Going out. Oh, but going out, 10 gauge. No, this is a breaker. That's for the breaker. Let me see. No. No, 7 gauge. Right here, you see it. These are 7 gauge wires. And then, what else? If you notice, everything in the AC side, you see all those circuits and everything. You don't want to overload it because you'll fry the circuit boards. So, and then the AC coming out. So, to power your stuff comes from this low frequency. See? This is the magic. And that's what's so heavy. Oh, man, that thing is heavy. Because that's all copper in there. And I see right here. Well, there's a twine, something here, twine, and this is right here. This is here because this is what's coming in. Which I see this is higher from going from the system, and what's coming in to charge because that's the charger. That's just coming in through here, and this is the output. So this would power this. Then the output looks like it does look like either. I think it's 4-gauge wire. Yep, 4-gauge wire output here. Remember, it's 5,000 watts, which is, you say 80%, but you can't really get running constantly at 5,000 watts because all you're going to do is just overheating your system now. But I got a 48 volts because I had my 12-volt system. It shuts off, always overheating. It's just the inverter. I can only really run 1,500 watts on 12 volts. I had 200 amp hour going through it, and it just won't do it. It just, the most it did is 2,000 for about 5 minutes. I think it got as high as 2,200, but then it just kept shutting off, and it'll work continuously between 800 watts and then you could hit 1,500 watts for about, let's say, 20 minutes, but then it'll start overheating and it'll shut off. So I can only use actually 800 watts usable. So on the 12-volt system, it ended up being only 50% on, because I could run 1,000 watts and it'll run it, but it'll be hot. But, so thinking about this, I got 5,000 watt. 80 is about, I gotta do the math, hold on. Did the math in my head. 20% for 5,000 is, it's 200 watts for every 1,000, so that's 1,000 watts times 5. So, yeah, it's 1,000 watts. So really, is constantly 4,000. You could run it. You could run it 5,000, but only short period of time. So you got 4,000, and you can run continuously where it'll still be running hot. And I really like to keep it at 3,000. And usually what I use, when I'm using it, when the power's out, I'm only using the most, I think it's 2,500. So I'm good. Because if I'm going to do more than that, I'll get another one in parallel so I could use 5,000 watts. Bang. This is the cat. Now you got this, and the fans are in here, and I believe this plastic. I put this plastic on. I see it here, and I see like, oh, it'll get some heat, but that's so it could blow air to cool both of these heat sinks, and everything here is just out, but that's where all the power's coming out to keep that cool. There's nothing over here to keep anything cool on this side, which I wish it had a smaller fan here somewhere to cool it down. But I guess that'll cool this, or cool this. This will run hot, and then whatever's left over will cool this over here when it's circulating. But this is most of the power because the battery, most of all the amperage going through here. And then the rest of the amperage from here going through here, which in turn feed this, and then here comes the AC power. So everything will come in And then it'll come back to AC power down over here, which I see the red and the black. And it looks like that's, like I said, like 7-gauge wire. So it looks like 7-gauge wire stuff. That's why they recommend you to use 7-gauge wire over here in the output, if you're going to use the full amount. But I'm not planning on using 5,000 watts on just this system, so I think I will get away with 6-gauge, 6 or 5-gauge. No, that's more 7-gauge. What I'm talking about. And AC. That's really thick and very expensive when it comes to AC. I'm looking at about 7. Well, 7-gauge, yeah. 7, 8-gauge. This 10-gauge, 12. That's the weird thing on AC. Yeah, since I'm only planning just running this like close to 3,000 watts on AC, 10-gauge wire would do it. So, but to be in the safe side, I think they recommend 7. I'll do 7. Why? Because I'm going to end up putting that into a little breaker box where it's going to have like 3 plugs, and each plug could probably take between 1,500 watts each, and the main wire that's coming out just needs to be 7-gauge. Yep, 7-gauge it will be, to keep it from, I don't want to catch fire. And coming in, I'm going to hook it up to, I got 2-gauge wires already that I bought. Just 4-gauge, but I got 2-gauge wires already in the back that I use for my, I was using for my 12 volts. Yeah, you're going to say, oh, you had a smaller wire. No, I did 2-gauge to connect it to my system. So if you put 2-gauge, just like you having 0-1 gauge wire with 2-gauge wires connected to the battery. You know, like 2 positive and 2 negative, 2-gauge. So I got a 2-gauge. That's it is overkill for the 48 system, because you could use a 4-gauge and that's all you need. So 2-gauge, I already bought it, so I'm going to use it, and it'll fit right in here. It's the same size of the lug nut, 3/8. So the 3/8 will go in there into the battery. All right, so this my system. I just love this thing, and a real transformer, and it's rated at a peak of 1,500 watts to run any motor. I think this thing will kick any motor on, and when it kicks it on, then it will run with whatever the motor is running on the wattage, which most motors sometimes are running 1,500 watts, like a pump. My refrigerator, for some reason, this is the thing, it kicks in really high, almost like 2,000 watts or 2,500 watts, right? And then it drops down while it's running 225 watts. But the initial kick is like 2,200 watts. Remember, I did that for my 12 volts. It's 2,200 watts when it kick in. Yes, the refrigerator just still turned on. You know, the compressor. Then after that, it just run at 225 watts. And then I could run anything else on it. So the thing is that I needed this, so it could at least run all those stuff like air conditioners, refrigerators, and the initial kick is the high surge, and they'll run, because my air conditioners are I got them, they're 600 watts. This one here 600, No, that one's one is 400, one is 600. The ones I got upstairs are there's two of them is 400, and then my son got one is 500. But just to kick it all, to kick it that surge is I forgot. One is like one was 2,500. This one that I got, the one that's 600, that's 8,000 BTU. That took 2,500 just to start it. That made my inverter scream, and it made noises, and then it shuts off, and then it'll start back up again because it has like a shut off, start, reset, and it kept doing it and it was not doing it. I said, let me turn this thing off before I burn my compressor. And so this should be able to do kicking all these air conditioners. If I could kick the air conditioners, the refrigerator, I got a swap pump and basin for the water. Like I think all of them just starts to do it. It's got 15,000 surge. So you got like 5,000, another 10,000. Yeah, it could do 2 air conditioner, a refrigerator, a swap pump, all at once to kick in for a surge. That's my theory that I'm thinking, but at the same time, I don't think it works that way. Because the ones in the house, those transformers, they're like rated like 50, 60,000 watts. So the downside to 120. So the thing is, I think it would, but I would like to try it to see if it works. If it does, I'll be amazed. But I think it should, because this thing is made to have a 15,000 watt surge. So, well, I say 10 because this inverter kicks in 5. So I think what this is give it another 10. So I think this is probably rated at 10,000. I'm not sure how it works. Probably is rated at 15 because it has to go through there. So yeah, it has to be 15,000 because it's going to use the inverter. 5,000 is going in through here, and it's going to convert it to 15. But if you notice, everything that's coming in, even everything that you're running is coming through here. Because all this is feeding this. I felt something here. All this here is feeding this, and then this feeds the AC. So AC is constantly going through this. So yeah, it has to be 15,000. I'll research it. So, but my sister and I are going to try it out. So far, it looks like everything is new. I'm looking to see if any distortion, because if you see blue markings on this terminal blue, that means it's been used. And they all look nice and clean, but they could clean it, you know what I mean? So, but I'm looking also at all the circuit boards and all the solder and everything. It looks all nice and clean. No blue mark, because circuit boards are being used. You'll see blue heat marks. It'll be on the circuit. It'll be everywhere. It'll be here on the bolts, and these bolts will be blue marks, and even in the on the fuse, because heat produces, anything electronic turns blue. If you open your stereo, you'll see it's turning blue. Everything that is electronic being used turns blue because it uses heat, electricity, and heat. And that's how it corrodes over time. And you'll see these things turn white over time, like within a year they'll be white. It's like a white film. of erosion. Well, that's part of the system, that's part of a thing. But this doesn't look copper. I wonder if this is copper and painted like copper cap. This it looks like copper alloyed, which I prefer. This one too. This is cheaper. I do notice that. Let me see. I think it's the warranty. That's the thing. But in future, I could. I see right here says that's not blue from the thing. That's Loctite. You break that for the warranty. That's they have it over here too. I see it. So nobody to mess with. And I'm wondering what this. I see it's a little circle thing here with a thing. So I think that's the initializer. To make this produce more when it's asking for more current for that surge. I think that's what it triggers it. So decent. To take the screws, this is the screws that I took out that cover, the big cover, so I could see the low frequency. The standard screws, they use the standard screwdriver, ones that you buy like this, a standard screwdriver. I forgot the name, but this is not small, or this is like medium. See how it looks? Exactly. This is just medium. This is standard screwdriver. That's what it uses. It fits perfectly. Takes it right out. If you buy just a small one like this, and if you buy a big one, it has to look this diameter. It's you'll see it's a standard. When they have standalone screwdriver, that's the one that usually you buy first, and then you buy the smaller ones, the bigger ones, so on and so on. And just the diagram. All that says air switches, that's supposed to be circuit breakers. So they recommend AC coming in, circuit breaker. Going out, circuit breaker. Coming in, circuit breaker for the solar panels. And going in with the battery circuit breakers to protect the system. Then I got this here of wires. I think this is telling us what gauge to use, right? Wire diameter. I believe that's the wattage. And the amperage of the air switches. Yep. And this is a PWM, MPPT, and MPPT. Solar panels. And they recommend they could, like it says here, 6,400 watts. They could come in. So they're planning this could run 5,000 watts as charging. 6,000, it'll charge the battery and give you 5,000 watts. But like any electronics, you can only use 80% of it. And that's the maximum. And 50% is longevity. So that's why I got the 5,000, because I know I could have 2,500 to 3,000 watts usable continuously with no problems. Because if I would have got the 3,000 watt system, then I'm looking at 1,500 to 2,000 to use, and that's it. So I spent a little bit. It was what, $100 difference. I spent a little more money, but I think it's 100, 200 different because I think the 3,000 is $400. But anyway, spent $200 more for so you could have what we call safety net, a 2,000 watt safety net. So because I know I would have ended up tried to sell the 3,000 watt, inverter, low frequency inverter to get this one. So I'd be like, off the bat, I'm getting the 5,000 one because I could get 5,000 and then I could get another 5,000, and that's 10,000. What's 20%? 80% usable, 8,000 watts plus 50%, 4,000. What's a sweet spot? You could use 6,000 watts with two of these. Longevity. I didn't know that I used that much watt, man. I was looking, I used about 30 to 40 kilowatts a day. So to be completely off grid, I actually need 6 of these, not 4. 4 gives me the 40,000 for kilowatts. But yeah, that's like we are using like 3,000 watts an hour because we got 5 computers here. All this other. Oh man, we just got stuff. I got my amp with my radio, subwoofer, you name it. We got everything. All right. This is it. It came with an extra fuse and the wall mount because it's the bracket it uses. You could hook this up and then you put it on there. And this thing is heavy. I only need somebody to help me. If I put this I can't put this on sheetrock. It'll tear up the sheetrock. This thing is damn heavy. This thing feels like 100 pounds, man. It does. I don't know how much the weight is it. No, if I could move it, and I'd be doing 30 pounds weights because I work out with 30 pounds. And this is way heavier than that. But I could move it. Yeah, say 50, 60. Because 100 pound, nah. There's no way. It's too damn heavy. So, and this is the control panel here. All right, bye till next time. Yeah, you see all my mess I got here. I got a lot of stuff in this place. I don't know, I just got a lot of projects. I just became 57 and it's like I'm doing all kind of stuff. Later. Daughter's bike right there. Her nice little pink bike. I got my one outside.